Okay, so today Ohm's law will complete this, and tomorrow and day after will be the revision of chapter number 10 and 11. Okay, so revise and come. Tomorrow will be chapter number 10, mirror and lenses. Okay, everything, how the image is formed at different object positions, where is the image formed and what is the nature of the image. Okay, for mirrors as well as for lenses, the sign convention, the mirror formula, lens formula, magnification. Okay, so prepare all these topics. Tomorrow will be the revision of all these topics, that is chapter number 10. Okay, today we'll complete Ohm's law. We have already started this topic, Ohm's law. Okay, so Ohm's law states that the potential difference between any 2 points is directly proportional to the current flowing between those 2 points. V is directly proportional to I, provided the physical conditions like temperature, etc. should remain constant. Okay, then only this V upon I ratio will be constant, that is V will be directly proportional to I. When we equate it, the constant of proportionality is R, which we call it as resistance. So V directly proportional to I, V is equal to R into I. So R is equal to V upon I. Now this R, which is called as the resistance, it remains constant for a given conductor. Constant. And when the physical conditions are also constant, okay, then only this resistance will remain constant for a given conductor. So resistance is constant. That is, this ratio V upon I will be constant. If we are saying that the resistance is constant, it means this ratio V upon I is constant. Okay, then the unit of resistance, ohm. 1 ohm can be defined as 1 volt upon 1 ampere. Okay, V is constant, then R is inversely proportional to current. So, in different electrical components, we have to regulate the current. That is, sometimes we want more current in some of the components and sometimes less current is needed. So, how to regulate the current? By changing the resistance. Okay, V is constant, the voltage source is constant. So, I can be regulated by changing the resistance. Okay, so if the resistance is more, the current flowing in that conductor will be less. And how can we regulate the current? There is a device called as the rheostat which changes the resistance and hence the current can be regulated. That is, the current can be changed. Okay, now there is one activity to prove Ohm's law. Okay, which is activity number 12.1. Okay, let's read it and then I'll explain. Set up the circuit as shown in figure 12.3 consisting of a nichrome wire XY. Okay, nichrome is what? Nichrome is an alloy of nickel and chromium. Okay, of course that iron is also in there. So nickel and chromium. So such an alloy we call it as nichrome. So here it consists of a nichrome wire of length say 0.5 meter and emitter and a voltmeter, 4 cells each of 1.5 volt. Nichrome is an alloy of nickel, chromium, manganese and iron metals. First, only one cell is used as the source in the circuit. Note the reading in the emitter for the current and reading for the voltmeter for the potential difference across the nichrome wire. Tabulate them in the table as given. Next, connect two cells in the circuit. Note the respective readings of the emitter and the voltmeter for the values of current to the nichrome wire and the potential difference. Repeat the above steps using 3 cells and then 4 cells in the circuit separately. Calculate the ratio of V to I for each pair and you will find that this V upon I ratio will be constant. Okay, so what is done? A circuit is made. First, only one cell is there in the circuit. There can be, we can later on will connect a number of cells. Okay, first only one cell is there. Okay, now this is the circuit. We know that the longer line, positive terminal, shorter one, negative terminal. Okay, it is connected to a nichrome wire XY. Connected to a nichrome wire XY and is connected to an emitter and is connected to a key. Okay, now we have to measure the current across this XY wire. Current, we know that what is the device which measures the current? It is the emitter. Okay, so the XY, this wire is made up of nichrome. Nichrome is an alloy which is the mixture of some metals like nickel, chromium, manganese, iron, etc. Okay, we have to measure the current across this nichrome wire and also the potential difference. We know that emitter measures the current and emitter is always connected in series one after the other. Okay, and when we have to measure the potential difference across this nichrome wire, we need a voltmeter. And we know that voltmeter is connected in parallel. So between these 2 points, we have to find out the potential difference. So the voltmeter measures the potential difference. So here we have connected the voltmeter in parallel and emitter in series. And also there is one key. Okay, as we know that the direction of current is from positive to the negative terminal. Okay, and how do we connect? The positive of the voltmeter should be towards the positive side of the cell. The same way, positive of the battery should be towards the positive of the emitter, and this way it is connected. Okay, so this is the circuit diagram. Okay, or the circuit. Here we have made the circuit diagram. When you do the connections in the lab, that we call it as the circuit. So in this circuit, we have taken one cell whose potential difference, like potential difference of one cell is 1.5 ohm. Okay, just an example. So the potential difference which is across the terminals of the cell is 1.5 volt. That is a 1.5 cell volt battery cell we have connected to this nichrome wire, to the emitter, to the key, and voltmeter we have connected in parallel. Okay, so what will emitter measure? When we switch on this key, when the key is inserted, when the circuit is closed, this emitter will measure the current from this nichrome wire and the voltmeter will measure the potential difference. Let's take an example. When only one cell is connected. When only one cell is connected, here as given in the book, the number of cells connected. Only one cell is connected. The voltmeter reading, let it is 1.5 volt. Okay, because this battery voltage is 1.5 volt. So this is also getting, this nichrome wire is also getting 1.5 volt potential difference. Okay, then the emitter reading, let's just an example. Okay, not the exact values. Let the current flowing through it is also 1.5 ampere. Okay, so when we have connected only one cell, let the potential difference which is measured by the voltmeter, let it is equal to 1.5 volt, and the emitter also measures, just an example, let the emitter also measures 1.5 ampere. Okay, now in the next column we will find out the ratio of V upon I, which we call it as resistance. So here V upon I, when you find out 1.5 upon 1.5, you get the value as 1 and the unit of resistance is ohm. Okay, now what we do, we connect two cells in series, that becomes a battery. Each cell is of 1.5 volt. Now two cells are connected. Okay, now how many cells are in the circuit? Two cells are in the circuit. So the potential difference given by this battery will be 1.5 plus 1.5. That is 3 volt. Okay, so the voltage source is 3 volt and let the potential difference across this XY wire is also 3 volts. So when the number of cells, how many cells? 2 cells are connected. Let the voltmeter measures as 3 volt. Suppose the current is also 3 ampere. Again, V upon I ratio is 1 ohm. Now let us connect 3 cells. Okay, now let us increase the number of cells. to increase the voltmeter reading. How to increase the voltmeter reading? We haven't connected a rheostat over here. When you go to the battery, when you do this experiment, you will connect only one cell and there will be a rheostat over here. This rheostat will automatically change the resistance of that conductor. So the current will be changed and so the potential difference will be changed. Okay, that will be done automatically. Okay, then now let us connect three cells in series. Okay, now tell me what will be the potential difference or the voltage source or the potential difference across this XY wire. You can unmute. I have not muted you from here. What will be
4.5.
4.5 volts? Yes. Then it is 4.5 volts and here V is directly proportional to I. So I also increases by same amount. So the current also becomes 4.5 ampere. So again the ratio V upon IS, which we call it as resistance, is 1. One more. Let us connect one more cell. Now the potential difference is 6 volts. So the
6
volt
volt.
6 volts and the current is also 6 amperes. Again the resistance is 1 ohm. So here we see that the ratio V upon I is constant. That is V is directly proportional to I. Okay, this is just an example I have taken over here. In the lab, you have to perform this experiment. You have to note down the voltmeter and the ammeter readings. Okay, by making this circuit, these are the connecting wires. Okay, this is the cell or the battery. In the lab, you will be given a rheostat, which you will connect in series only. Only once battery will be given to you. Okay, that is exponential difference is constant. Keeping this V same, I could be changed and so the potential difference across XY wire will also change. Okay, so here we have connected a number of cells. Okay, when we connect one cell, then also we are seeing that the ratio of V is to I is constant. Connecting 2 cells, 3 cells, 4 cells, the ratio V upon I is constant and V upon I is resistance. So the resistance of a given conductor is constant, provided the physical condition should be same. That is, the temperature should remain constant across this wire. The length of the wire should be constant. Once we have connected, we are not changing its length. Its thickness should be constant. Okay, we are not changing any other wire whose thickness is more. The material should be the same. So the same material we are using. So once we connect the wire, its length is constant, cross-sectional area is constant, temperature is constant, everything is. Then we see that V is directly proportional to I, or we can say that V upon I, the ratio of V is to I remains constant, and we know that the ratio of V is to I is the resistance, that is the resistance remains constant. Okay, so this activity proves Ohm's law. Okay, so here the graph is given between V and I and some readings are written over here. Only the shape of the graph you should know. If you plot the graph between V and I, taking V along y-axis, I along x-axis, you will see that the graph is a straight line passing through the origin having some slope. Okay, and like it is making this line, the VI graph line, which is OA, making an angle theta with the I-axis, with the x-axis, and the slope of the line we know can be found out by tan theta, and tan theta is perpendicular upon base. Perpendicular is B, base is I, and this we know is equal to resistance. So the slope of the line gives the resistance. Okay, this we have already studied, and this activity proves Ohm's law. Okay, now write few questions. I think the last question given was to make the symbols. Okay, write the next question. State Ohm's law. State Ohm's law. Okay, statement, full statement we have to write down. The potential difference between 2 points across a conductor in an electrical circuit is directly proportional to the current flowing through it, provided the physical conditions like temperature etc. should remain constant. Okay, so this is very necessary that the physical conditions should remain constant. So this is the complete statement of Ohm's law. Write the next question. Write Ohm's law in mathematical form. Write Ohm's law in mathematical form. Okay, how will you write in mathematical form? V is directly proportional to I. Equated, the constant is resistance R. Okay, so R is equal to V upon I. This is the mathematical form. Write the next question. Define resistance. Define resistance and give its SI unit. Define resistance and give its SI unit. Yes, how will you define resistance? It is the property of the conductor to oppose the flow of charges through it. Flow of charges means current. So it is the property of a conductor to oppose the current flowing through it, or you may write down to oppose the flow of charges through it. Okay, and from this formula we see that resistance is V upon I. Resistance is the ratio of potential difference to current, and the resistance for a given conductor is constant provided the physical conditions are the same. Okay, the physical conditions like the temperature does not change. Then the resistance for a given conductor is constant. Okay, so how will you define resistance? It is the property of a conductor to oppose the flow of charges, or you may write down to oppose the flow of current. Why? Because we know that the flow of charges constitute electric current. So to oppose the flow of current. Okay, and resistance is given as the ratio of potential difference to current. It is constant for a given conductor provided the physical conditions like temperature etc. should remain constant. Okay, then write down. Define the unit of resistance. Define the unit of resistance. Okay, now defining the unit means you have to define 1 ohm. How can you define 1 ohm? 1 ohm is the resistance of a conductor when 1 ampere of current produces a potential difference of 1 volt across the ends of a conductor. Okay, how much current is flowing? 1 ampere. How much potential difference it is producing? 1 volt of potential difference. So 1 ohm is equal to 1 volt upon 1 ampere. So this is how we define the resistance. Okay, next question. Name the component which regulates the current without changing the voltage source. Name the component which regulates the current without changing the voltage source. What is that component? Rheostat. It's a variable resistance called as rheostat. Okay, so the resistance can be changed and the current can be regulated without changing the voltage source. So write down. Next question. If V is constant, if potential difference is constant, or if voltage source is constant, if V is constant, how does the current depend on resistance? If V is constant, V is what? Potential difference or voltage source, anything. If V is constant, how does the current depend on resistance? Yes, if V is constant, we know that R is equal to V upon I. If V is constant, how is R dependent upon current? R is, or you can write down I is equal to V upon R. V is constant, so I is inversely proportional to the resistance. current is inversely proportional to the resistance. Okay, I is equal to V upon R, V is constant, so I is inversely proportional to the resistance. So if the resistance of a conductor is doubled, how much will be the current through that conductor? It will be half. Okay, it will become 1/2. Okay, next question. Give an activity. Give an activity to prove Ohm's law. Give an activity to prove Ohm's law. Okay, so few questions here I have given. You will write the answers of these questions in your copy. Any doubt in this chapter? Okay, so we'll stop the chapter here only. Tomorrow we'll start the revision of chapter number 10 and 11. Okay, so prepare it well. We'll do the questions. And prepare it. I'll ask questions also tomorrow. So chapter number 10 should be well prepared. Tomorrow I'm going to ask questions and you are going to answer those questions in the revision. Okay, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me also. Okay, any doubt in this chapter till Ohm's law? So whatever what we have studied in this chapter, the first topic is what is an electric circuit? Electric circuit means the closed and continuous path of flow of electric current, that we call it as electric circuit. Okay, then we have defined current. Okay, and then what is current? It is the flow of the charges. Which charges flow? Electrons flow. Okay, so the direction of current is, if it is in the external circuit, if it is connected like this, you can say that from positive to negative terminal. Okay, and whenever you draw this Ohm's law, any circuit diagram, very necessary to mark the direction of current. Current is from positive to the negative terminal in the external circuit, that is in the outside circuit, it is from positive to the negative terminal. Or you may say that it is opposite to the flow of electrons. The conventional direction of current is taken opposite to the flow of electrons. Okay, and this current we define it as, it is the rate of flow of charges. That is, its formula becomes charge flow per unit time. Q upon T, we call it as electric current. Okay, so electric current is the conventional direction, we take it as opposite to the flow of electrons. But current is a scalar quantity. Okay, don't consider it to be a vector quantity. If we change this terminals, suppose here it is the negative, here it is the positive, the direction of the current will change. So it is a scalar quantity, it's not a vector quantity. The conventional direction of the current we take, it is opposite to the flow of electrons, or you may say in the external circuit it flows from positive to the negative terminal. Okay, in the external, outside circuit, not inside the cell. Okay, we are not talking inside the cell in which direction it is flowing. Outside the cell, that is in the external circuit, it is flowing from positive to negative terminal, and current is charge flown per unit time. Its SI unit is ampere. 1 ampere is 1 coulomb of charge upon 1 second, and 1 coulomb of charge is equivalent to 6 into 10 raised power 18 electrons. So the charge on 1 electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, then potential difference, which is defined as work done in moving a unit charge from one point to another in an electrical circuit. So its formula becomes work done per unit charge, W upon Q. SI unit is joule per coulomb, which we take it as volt. And 1 volt is defined as 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. Okay, so when 1 coulomb of charge flows from one point to other, 1 joule of work is done, and then the potential difference between those 2 points is said to be 1 volt. Okay, then we have studied Ohm's law, which is V is directly proportional to I. Equating it, R is equal to V upon I, R is constant for a given conductor, provided the physical conditions should remain constant. Physical conditions like temperature. Then one activity here we have done to prove Ohm's law. Okay, any doubt? Any doubt in this chapter? Whatever we have studied till now? Okay, no doubt. So, wait a minute till I take your attendance.